What's up friends, Chook here, and welcome to my Bit Heroes free-to-play Beginner's Guide series. This video series is aimed at people who are interested in Bit Heroes, but aren't fully aware of what type of game it is, and for new players to the game who may be a little confused or unaware of some of the aspects and mechanics of the game. If you'd like to add me as a friend in Bit Heroes, please leave a comment with your in-game name and that you've sent me a friend's request. For example, I've sent you a friend's request, and my in-game name is ChickenLover. Now that's all said and done, let's begin. In this video, we'll be going over raids. So, how raids work is this. As you can see here, I have 6 raid shard tokens, or a maximum of 6. You will start out with 4. The reason I have 6 is because of guild perks, and that's also why I have 11 PvP tokens as well. So, we'll do everything to do with guild in a future episode, but if we just look here for perks, you can see here, these are the perks that we have for our current guild that we're in. And you can see here that PvP we have 1 maximum ticket. And if we go down to raid, we have 2 maximum shards. So if we have 475 of this, whatever material it is, I don't even know what it's called. Guild bucks, there we go. If we saved up to 750, we could put in another one and have another 3, an extra shard, and go up to 7 instead of 6. So don't worry about that. When you start off, you'll have 4. Depending on what guild you're in, you may have more or whatever. Anyway, the way guild raids work is this. You will get one of these raid shards back every 120 minutes. So that's every 2 hours. So raids are really good for loot, but you can't really spam them. Now what you can do, and this will be another episode as well, but while we're just on the topic, if you go into if you go into craft and you go to trade, you can trade your materials for things, and you can see all the way down the bottom nearly, well, for you will be at the bottom, I'm assuming, if you're beginning the game. You can see here that we can buy a shard for 5,000 gold and 100 energy. So at the start of the game, you've probably only got 100-ish energy, like level 1 or whatever. So by the time you unlock raids, you might have like 170 or something, let's say. So this isn't really worth it, in my opinion, unless that you can do the raid on heroic. And even then, it might not be worth it, because for 100 energy, you could do 3 heroic dungeons instead. And that will be 90 energy. That will get you probably more XP, more chances of getting loot, and, you know, catching familiars and all the rest of it. Raids are really good, but this is a pretty expensive, not to mention 5k gold early on might hurt as well. So it's up to you. I'm not saying you can't do it. You can totally do it if you want to do it. With me on your team, if you've added me, I will definitely help smash out raid 1 easily. You'll need more than just me, of course, but I will definitely help a lot. So it's up to you if you want to do this on raid on heroic and stuff and use this to get an extra shard. But I'm just letting you know that it's there. Now let's go through the raids. This is going to be a bit of a longer episode maybe, because I'm going to do each raid. So starting off at raid 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to go through them all, and I'm going to point out things of note and stuff while we're in there. I'm going to run it on auto though, so I'm not going to do it on manual, because otherwise that will take too long. So each raid will go like fairly quickly in that aspect, but because we're doing 4 of them, the video might go a little bit longer. Anyway, let's get started. Raid 1 is called Asteroids Awakening, and collect his legendary gear. So if you get all the legendary drops off the boss, and mind you, in raids, you can only get the legendary or set piece, whatever, drops off the boss itself, or from chests, I believe, as well. And this is what, if you get all of his gear, this is what you will look like. And actually, I forgot to mention this on the gear episode, but you can do transmogrification on your character. So if I wanted to look like Asteroth, so again, this is what he looks like. If you use his sword, his helmet, his chest piece, and his offhand, you will look like this. So I'm not using a sword, I'm using a gun, so I can't really do that. But if you want to do transmogrification, this is how you do it. Any piece of gear that you've looted, even if you haven't equipped it or whatever, any piece of gear that you've ever looted, including accessories, pets, whatever, you can change what you're currently wearing to look like it. So if we want to look like Asteroth, we can do that by clicking these little purple sea icons, I guess. So if we do this is my offhand, which at the moment is a toy chicken. My name's Chook, which is a slang word for chicken in Australia. Hence why I've got like a chickeny mount, a toy chicken in my offhand, and then a chicken flying next to me. I wanted as many chicken things as I could. But for the purpose of this episode and looking at Astaroth, you click this C, this purple C, and then you go down and you select whatever gear that you want it to look like. So in this case, we want Astaroth's offhand, which is this one, Immortal Resolve. So we click that, all of a sudden we're wearing that. We change to his helmet, which is this one, and then we change to his chest piece. I'm trying to do this quickly, so as quick as I can at least, so that you don't see too much of the gear that's coming up if you're worried about spoilers or whatever. I can't seem to find his. Oh, there it is. Thought it looked a bit different to that. And as you can see there, we now look somewhat like Astaroth. So that's how transmogrification works. Works for every piece of gear. You can't do your accessories or your necklace or ring because it doesn't show up. And for the even for mounts, you can do it as well. But for the accessories, pets, and mounts, it's a little bit different. You have to click on the accessory itself, and then the purple thing's up here. For the pet, same thing. And then for the mount, same thing. So they're not there, but you just click on them and it works the same way. Anyway, let's get back. Let's get actually onto the raid, right? What we're here for. So we click summon. Just burn through all this. I don't care. And you do it on whatever difficulty you can. Obviously, heroic is the way to go. It all costs 1 shard. So unlike dungeons being 10 energy for normal, 20 energy for hard, and 30 energy for heroic, this all costs just 1 shard. So it's by far the best to do it on heroic because it costs the exact same as normal. So yeah, if you have me on your friends list and you can't do heroic and you are just trying to look for other friends and stuff, I can ask some people, some friends of mine that I know, if they've got some free slots and stuff. So if you need help clearing heroics, heroic 1 or heroic 2 or whatever it be, let me know and I'll try and get you a friend. I can't guarantee anything, but if I can, I will definitely do so. Anyway, let's go. This is my team, which, you know, whatever, you can pause and have a look at that if you want, and we'll get started. So this is raid 1. And as I've mentioned in previous episodes, any enemy that you come across, you can capture. You have the chance of capturing, I should say. So even these raid enemies here have the chance of popping up. That was a shrine to give me full energy as well. That's what that little blue pylon was. So any of these, you have a chance of them popping up for capture or persuasion or whatever it's called. Now on that note, actually, when we see one, you'll see one of them that kind of looks like Borland. He was just there before. We'll wait until he pops up again. There he is, this guy. If you can capture him, definitely do so. I mean, try and capture everything. But if you capture him, his name is Squib. And if you confuse him with another familiar to make Squibbo, and Squibbo will overtake Borland as your healer. He's just a better healer. So it's a bit harder to get because he is an epic familiar and it has a lower chance of being caught and a lower chance of showing up and all the rest, like showing up to be caught. But if you happen to catch him, consider yourself lucky early game because he will become a better healer than Borland, which is really handy. So this will go considerably slower for you guys, I'm assuming. And if you just turn auto on like I have, your team will just walk around and slay everything. They don't particularly head for the boss. They don't head away from the boss. They just walk around and hits whatever's closest. So we've found the boss, which is Astaroth, and he goes through his little spiel, and we go for him. So again, there's a chance that he will come up for capture. Not this time, but we'll see what we get as a reward. So we didn't get a legendary or anything here, but, you know, we still got loot. And we're also getting quite a bit of XP in here as well. Now, each raid has its own, what's the word I would use? I'm going to say rare. Rare as in that it's not in every raid. It shows up once, you know, once every 10 or 20 or something. Familiar that shows up like a elusive, super rare kind of enemy that might show up in one of the raids. Each raid has their own version of it, and if we come across one of them, I'll point them out and say who it is. And they generally drop better gear than just normal enemies. And they also fuse with other familiars into really strong familiars as well. So if you can manage to catch them, that is also pretty handy. So that's raid 1. Done. Easy. Next is raid 2, Hyperdimension. And this is what you'll look like if you get all these gear and equip it all and stuff. I'm not going to do transmog for each one, but because you can see what it looks like here, I was just trying to show off how you do transmog. So again, heroic. If you can, if not, normal, whatever it be. So the first raid was kind of like undead, demon-y type things, and then you got like the big demon lord at the end of it. This is like all colorful and, you know, rainbow roady kind of crazy colors and retro kind of look to it. It's kind of like, I think it's Whimsyshire in Diablo 3, where you fight all like the teddy bears and stuff. That's what it reminds me of. So each raid will have its own kind of flair and its own theme, effectively. So in the raids and in just normal dungeons and normal flags and everything as well, there will be a chance of a skeleton chest spawning, and I've mentioned this as well, that I wouldn't use, if you get any skeleton keys, you need skeleton keys to open skeleton chests, that makes sense. I wouldn't use those skeleton keys on the chests until you get into a raid. So if you're in raid 1 and you're farming raid 1 and all the rest of it, and a skeleton chest comes up, use your skeleton key on that, but I wouldn't use it just in dungeons and stuff, because the gear you get from raids is better than the gear that you get in dungeons. So say you use your skeleton key in the third dungeon of the first zone, for instance, you're kind of wasting it, right? Because you get like, you might get a good piece of tier 1 gear, but then you get to tier 2 and you just replace it. So if you get to raid 1, you're not going to be able to do raid 2 until you complete the third zone, I should say. No, the 4th zone. So to unlock raid 1, you have to complete the 3rd zone. And then unlock raid 2, which is this one, you have to complete the 4th zone. So even though you've unlocked raid 1, it might take you a while to get to raid 2. And here's the boss. So while you're going through the flags and dungeons and everything of zone 4, you're going to be farming raid 1. So it's much better to use the skeleton keys and everything in raid 1 than in, you know, one of the previous zones or something. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, get through his dialogue. And he has a minion with him. Astaroth didn't. So what you want to do, if you can, with raid 2, is you want to have a tank at the front and a tank at the back. So you want a tank in slot 1 here, and a tank in slot 5. If you're having trouble, because the raid 2 boss has a move that can hit the very back target and can quite easily one-shot people. So putting a tank in the back can also be useful, or an off tank, or just someone with a lot of health. Doesn't necessarily need to be a pure tank, but a lot of the times people do run with 2 tanks in raids if they're having trouble. Okay, so we should be finishing up here any second. There it is. Now we move on to raid 3. And this is Woodbeard's Booty. And you defeat Captain Woodbeard. And that's what you look like if you use all of his gear. Same thing. Go through here and we'll do it on heroic. And the theme for this one is like a Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, undead pirate ship, effectively. So you've got these hovering, flying skeleton bomber dudes. You've got the fat green... Oh, there we go. We got a rare here. You got the fat green dudes. And then you've got the octopus guys. I actually need one of these octopuses. Octopi? Octopuses. I don't know what the plural is. For a fusion that I'm working on. So hopefully they come up for persuasion, because that would be handy if I got that on video. That would be nice. Okay, I'm going to go manual here for just a second to show you something. This here is a doubloon, and this is a specific material you need to upgrade the legendaries from this tier. So this is tier 6, and any legendary at tier 6 will need doubloons to upgrade it. So I can't do that in here because we don't have the craft option while you're in a dungeon. But I'll show you when I get out if I remember. But basically, in you know, all your common rares and epics, to upgrade it, you just need, you know, like rare material and common material and all that sort of stuff. For the epics of each tier, you will need the specific legendary drop. So for tier 6, it's these doubloons. You can get them from just finding them on the ground like this, or if you exchange or disenchant or whatever you want to call it, a legendary from this tier, you will get a bunch of these. So you might get like 50 of them or 20 of them or whatever it be. So I'm just making a note of what that actually is. And apparently we didn't pick it up, so we'll have to go back for that. We just ran straight past it. Which would mean that we would complete the whole raid and then run all the way back to pick it up, which would be annoying. So let's quickly just grab it while we're here. Oh no, he did it on his own. There we go, doubloon. So I don't think that there's not a specific item like the doubloon to upgrade Raid 1 gear. But for Raid 2, they're called Hyper Shards. For Raid 3, they're doubloons. And for Raid 4, they're called Rhombits. And like I said, they all drop from in dungeons. They can also be in raids and trials as well. Trials and gauntlets, I should say. And also disenchanting the legendaries. Or set pieces or whatever it be from the relevant tiers. Here's another energy pylon. Energy shrine we're about to get. Okay, so there shouldn't be too much more. This chest, this enemy, and then maybe the boss. So raids are somewhat time-consuming, but as I said, they recharge one raid shard every 2 hours. So, you know, if they were one raid shard every like 10 minutes or something, you just, by the time you finish the raid, you'd have another one to go. So yeah, they do take a little bit of time, but they're definitely worth it. I need him as well for a fusion, so hopefully he pops up as well. But the bosses are very rare to get. So you see he was considerably tankier and tougher than the previous bosses. Which makes sense. And you can leave at any time as well by pressing the X up here. Although I don't recommend doing that. You can if you want to. And then the last raid for the moment is the hell of mistake. Travel to the future, save the land from the evil Rombos. And that's what you look like if you wear all of his gear once you get it, if you get it. And this is obviously the raid that everyone is farming at the moment. But as I mentioned before, at the time of recording this, tomorrow the new zone and raid and everything comes out. So unless if you're a high-ranked player, a high-level player I should say, you probably won't be farming this anytime soon again. Unless you're looking for a particular familiar you need, like if you need the boss of this area, or you need, you know, one of these double-flying robots, who are assholes, by the way. When you first get to this this raid, those things will kick your ass. And obviously the theme of this is all, you know, robot, futuristic stuff. Health Shrine. Yeah, we haven't come across any of those rare individual familiars for each raid yet, which is a little disappointing, so that I couldn't showcase them. But you'll know when you see them, because they are completely different to any other enemy. You'll fight the same enemies over and over and over again, and then you'll see one that's like completely different. So for this raid, for instance, it's like a little tiny robot. For the first raid, it's like a pink little goblin-looking thing. For the second raid, it's like a little goblin-y thing inside a treasure chest. And for the pirate raid, I can't even remember what it is. I've never been able to catch one, so they're pretty rare. There's a floating ROM bit over here when we get out of the video. That's the same thing as the doubloon, but for this tier of legendary gear. So this here, that's the ROM bit there. ROM bit. So in general for this raid, the two little dual flying robot things are definitely the ones you want to kill first. Then the blue dog looking things, and then these red just like humanoid looking robots. They're just basically tanks. You can leave them till last. So in order of what hurts the most, it's these flying robots, then the dogs, and then the red guys. We're almost at a new level, which is cool. Get a free stat. So you can see, even though that I can do this raid on heroic fairly comfortably on auto without having to really worry or anything, and this is the boss here. Even though I can do that, and like all of my friends that are in my raid team are higher level than me, they still actually take damage. So you can imagine when you first get here with the gear that you have, it's pretty brutal. As will the new raid tomorrow. And obviously he is taking much longer and taking a lot more damage to get down. There was a huge crit at the end there, holy shit. And that is raid 4. All done. And then I have 2 left because of the guild perk. Now, quickly, while we're still going, here's Sane looking cool. Looks really cool, actually. I'll go and show you the disenchanting or the exchanging. I call it disenchanting, I'm just used to the word. Of the legendary gear and getting the upgrade materials from them. So if we see here, Ghostwalker, that's fine. This is a tier 6, so this is the pirate ship raid. If we disenchant this, we will get some doubloons. So we go here, we get exchange. We'll also get some epic material and stuff as well, but let's do it. And we get 2 epic material and 10 doubloons. And then if we go back a further one to Lich Tunic, well, it doesn't really matter what I do. Let's just disenchant this. Here we get a Hyper Shard. So this is from Raid 2. And also 2 epic materials. And then if I was to disenchant this, which is the current raid, I'm keeping it because it is a staff and it works. The healing off the staff works with my current set pieces. So I won't disenchant this, but if I was to, I would get the ROM bits instead. So that's how all that works. That's all raids for you, and Sane's covering me up there, and how everything to do with raids, basically. So if there's any questions that you have, leave them down below. Again, sorry that this was a little bit of a longer episode, but we wanted to get through all 4 raids and show it off. I will also be putting a video up of the new zone and new raid as soon as I get access to it tomorrow, providing I can actually beat the zone and get to the raid. But for now, that will be it. I hope you're enjoying it. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.